everybody, welcome to the Comic Book Cover, episode 24. So, first things first, I don't know if anybody caught it, but Geoff Johns just last week released a video talking about the whole rebirth thing with DC. For starters, and this is good for all of us comic fans that are buying, especially DC, $2.99. Everything's going back down to $2.99. Batman, I know for sure, is going bi-monthly, so that offsets a little bit, but at least it's going to be $2.99 as they do it. Of course, they know they're going to get the money out of Batman. It's Batman. It's like saying, Marvel's going to sweat Spider-Man or something, or Iron Man, whatever. The extra cool stuff is, and I'm happy about this, Action Comics and Detective Comics go into the original numbering, which will put them in the 9s. Those two comics are the closest getting to 1,000 issues. So, and it seems to be the theme that Geoff Johns talked about a lot was legacy. And that's the reason I love both companies. There's always the back and forth thing, but truthfully, DC has the legacy. And that's the thing they're going to focus on. Geoff Johns is going to be doing an 80-page comic called Rebirth, and it's also still going to be at $2.99. So that's extra cool for those of us who like to get more bang for a buck. And like I said, all issues will be $2.99 again. So this will be coming up soon. Definitely check out for the Rebirth. Everything else is going to go back to number 1s. Great jumping on point if you want to get into DC Comics. So there's that. Go check out the video. He posted it on Twitter. Geoff Johns talking about the new Rebirth thing. It's not just a little thing. It's going to company-wide span over the whole thing. It's definitely a good time to jump into some DC Comics. Moving on, we got our featured comic, Superman and the Coming of the Superman, number 1 of 6. This is written and drawn by the legend Neal Adams. It's going to be involving a lot of the dark side and the Fourth World characters created by Jack Kirby. Definitely one to check out. Of course, Neal Adams is having his variant covers this month, which has been really cool. Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman. Everybody's getting a Neal Adams variant, which I, for one, am picking up all of those. If you want one, we've ordered a little extra. If you missed one, let us know. We can back order you one. Definitely, Neal Adams is a legend. His run with Denny O'Neil on Batman, they created the character of Ra's al Ghul, plus Green Arrow and Green Lantern is a classic. That team in particular, anything they did was great. But Neal Adams is one of the most legendary artists, especially coming out of the 60s and 70s. So it's cool to see him doing his own title again. Plus it's a Superman thing, which obviously I'm a big fan. So definitely, if you're a Neal Adams fan, you're a Superman fan, if you're a Jack Kirby fan, especially his Fourth World stuff, you'd want to check this out. So let us know if you want it. We've got issue number 1. Come down here and buy that one. Moving on to Marvel Comics. Usually I like to stick with the featured thing, but we'll go to Marvel now. All new, all different Avengers number 6. The villain has been revealed. If you read number 5, which came out not too long ago, it appears the Vision has turned against the Avengers, which is pretty interesting. Vision was created to combat Ultron, which Hank Pym had created, which, of course, in the movies it's Tony Stark, but either way, it worked out the same way. Vision was created just to go against Ultron, so it's interesting him turning bad now. He's kind of been manipulating Nova and a few other characters in the comics, so curious to see where that goes. And of course, we've got Standoff building up. Soon we'll have Steve Rogers back in the Captain America costume. This all, I'm sure, plays in together. All New, All Different Avengers has been a really good comic. I've been critical here and there, but I love the last issue. All New Inhumans number 4, All New X-Men number 5, Amazing Spider-Man 1.3. This is a really good story. Last issue definitely had quite a few laugh-out-loud moments. And, of course, he's still trying to help the gang from Harlem to find their lost friend in Cuba. So it's all part of the Spider-Man, World Spider-Man thing instead of just being in New York. Angela, Queen of Hell number 5, Astonishing Ant-Man number 5, written by the awesome Nick Spencer. I'm not an Ant-Man fan, but I'm definitely tempted to jump on that comic. One of my favorites, Daredevil number 4, and we're going to be getting Captain America, or at least Steve Rogers. He's still Captain America to me, even if he's not in the uniform right now. If you remember reading Born Again, or if you were a Daredevil fan, Frank Miller fan, read Born Again, that was a cool story that had Captain America and Daredevil. So in that vein, I'm really excited about this one. The story has been excellent so far. I even went back and read 1 through 3 back to back just to kind of get it all together. We've got the Ten Fingers Clan. Definitely giving Daredevil a run for his money, as well as being a bit brazen with the hand. So pulls in the old Daredevil, continuity or canon actually, and adding new stuff in it. It's what makes it pretty cool. It's reminiscent of Frank Miller, but different too. Of course, the all-black costume. But Steve Rogers and Daredevil, man, how can you not pick this comic up? Drax number 4, Guide to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, The Avengers. Gwenpool Special number 1. Of course, everybody's going to want to pick that up. Surely you've seen the new Deadpool movie. I kept telling you last month there's something special happening with Deadpool. Hercules number 4, Howling Commandos of S.H.I.E.L.D. number 5, Kanan 11, finally Karnak number 2. Unfortunately, I've dropped it now because it took so long to get, and I've got other Warren Ellis books, but I'm going to read the trade of that because it's Warren Ellis. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur number 4, New Avengers number 7, not verified by Diamond, and I haven't gone through the whole shipment yet, so I'm not sure that it did come out, but if it didn't come out this week, it'll be out next week, but it was on the list, so I'm telling you. Patsy Walker, a.k.a. Hellcat, number 3. Once again, if you watch Jessica Jones' show, that was her best friend. She has her own comic now. Well, she had one before, too. Silk, number 5. Spider-Man 2099, number 7. Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, number 5. Venom Space Knight, number 4. And X-Men, the worst X-Men ever, number 1 of 5. Not sure why that's so exciting. I mean, he's the worst X-Men ever, right? Maybe it's a comedy book. Who knows? Coming out from IDW Publishing, we have Back to the Future number 5, Judge Dredd number 3, which is part 3 of the Mega City Zero story. And a lot of people have been really excited about this one, Street Fighter X G.I. Joe number 1 of 6, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 55. And of course, everybody's favorite, Image Comics. One of my favorites, Black Magic number 5. It's the end of the first story arc, The Awakening, so it's the conclusion. I don't know. I can't say enough about how cool the artwork is. Nicholas Scott's always had great pencil work, but now the coloring thing on this, where it's kind of toned down a lot of the colors until something big happens, you get a lot of color. I think it's a pretty interesting way to help tell that story. Greg Rucka, obviously an awesome writer. Goddamn number 3, more of Jason Aaron exploring the universe of what happened before, leading up to the Great Flood. You know, the idea of how bad was humanity before it rained for 30 days and 30 nights. And it's interesting. You have Cain, who's been around for thousands of years and can't die and is trying to die. And then you have an early look at Noah, which obviously these two characters are going to come head to head. But it's just a pretty interesting story, and nobody's ever really tried to explore that. So I would highly recommend that, especially if you're a Jason Aaron fan, especially if you read Scout, because it's the same team that worked on Scout, and it's a pretty intriguing story. The solicit for this one, and I will be a vagrant and wander on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me, Genesis 4:15. There you go. That's pretty much a good sum down of the whole Cain thing. And like I said, Cain and Noah are definitely going to run head-to-head in this book anytime. Nowhere Men number 7, which is the second printing, not verified by Diamond. Nowhere Men number 8 is coming out. That is verified. Pencilhead 2 of 5, Plutona 4 of 5, which has been a great comic, Jeff Lemire. Saga number 34, everybody loves Saga. And Spawn 261. Spawn's really picking up in popularity again, which is kind of cool, especially since Al Simmons is back. Plus you have Eric Larson from Savage Dragon teaming up with Todd McFarlane, which usually Todd McFarlane runs the whole ship. He's kind of released his reins a little bit, which maybe that's the reason Simmons came back. But it's definitely a cool time to be a Spawn fan. I noticed a lot of people are adding that back into their files, so, and we still have some on the shelf. So if you're looking for Spawn, we got him here. Not we got him, but we got him here. Finally, to my favorite DC Comics, Aquaman number 49. It's the aftermath of the Thule invasion, which, despite all the controversy over Cullen Bunn's run, I finished it. I thought it was a great run. I don't understand why everybody was so upset. Didn't deviate from the Aquaman I knew. The cool thing with this one is Dan Abnett's on board. Dan Abnett writes great stuff. He had old stuff with Resurrection Man. He's done all kinds of great work. More recently, Titans Hunt, one of my favorite DC comics. Can't wait to see where he goes with Aquaman. Plus, Jeff Johns will be back on the book later. So it's a good time to get back into Aquaman, especially if like the original Jeff Johns run from the New 52. From Vertigo, we got Art Ops number 5. Back to DC, Batman and Robin Eternal number 21. Now, I talk about this one all the time because it's a weekly comic, but especially this last issue, I know myself and even when Josh is on here, we're always talking about how we want to see Nightwing come back. Well, we finally got a taste of how that could happen, and that was another thing released with the big event I'm talking about, Rebirth, is that finally Dick Grayson's going to be back as Nightwing come July. So the seeds are being planted now in Batman and Robin Eternal. If you haven't been reading this comic, you should, and it's pretty close to the end. It's only going to go to 26, so we've got 5 issues left. Cyborg number 8. And of course, Dark Knight 3, The Master Race number 3 of 8. Frank Miller, Brian Azzarello. This is the 3rd part to Frank Miller's classic, The Dark Knight Returns. It's been a really good book so far. Lots of, eyebrow-raising moments, especially, the events with Carrie Kelly. Seeing her grow as a character is a really cool book, especially if you're a fan of Dark Knight and any of the Frank Miller stuff. You ought to be reading this, and we can't seem to keep them on the shelves. It's one of our best-selling books along with the Star Wars stuff. So if you're wanting that, you should definitely come in now and get it. We will have it out Wednesday morning. Deathstroke number 15, been a great title. Flash number 49. Really love Jesus Moreno's pencils and inks, since he's actually penciling and inking the comic himself. Very awesome stuff. Fans of the TV show, it's a good time to jump in on this comic because the last issue is the start of this new story arc. Grayson number 17, we kind of talked about that with Batman and Robin 21. This stuff is spiraling. It's all building into Nightwing coming back. Can't wait. He-Man and the Eternity War number 15. Back to Vertigo, Jacked number 4 of 6. Justice League number 48. The epic of Darkseid War continues and it's coming close to an end. The League is forced to unite with their evil counterparts, the Crime Syndicate, to defeat the nigh omnipotent Anti-Monitor. Plus, what is the terrible secret behind Superwoman's newborn child? That one they've been playing since Forever Evil. Definitely curious to see what's going to happen there. I love it when you can tell that they had ideas in the beginning that they're fleshing out slowly as it goes. It makes it really fun as a reader. I mean, a lot of people always be like, oh, they're making it up as they go. You don't know that. It's just, both companies do this a lot. It's important to have fun as a reader, so enjoy it. Justice League 3001, number 9, Back to Vertigo, Last King in Town, number 3 of 7. Suicide Squad, Most Wanted, Deadshot and Katana, number 2 of 6. Superman number 49, Savage Dawn continues. If you've been reading, Kryptonite gave him his power back. It's pretty interesting. Is this going to turn out to where he's even affected by Kryptonite the same anymore? We don't know, but Superman's back with his powers, and I'm, for one, particularly excited. Plus, we got Batman back, too. Next issues of 50, we're going to see the costumes, and everything's going to be back to normal. Superman, Lois and Clark, number 5. What a great run this has been. How do you fight a villain who is a reality TV star and will stay undercover? That's what Superman is up against as he faces the threat created just for ratings. BlackRock. Meanwhile, Intergang has Lois Lane in their crosshairs. We met Bruno Mannheim the last issue. I was really excited about that because I wanted that character to show up again, and he hasn't since the New 52. And really cool that they use the old pre-New 52 Superman to bring him in. Plus, the 2 Supermen are going to meet in issue 50. I'm really curious to see where that story goes. I can't say enough good stuff about the Lois and Clark story. Yet again, it's one of the best books coming out. And, it is interesting that it's dealing with the pre-New 52 universe and converging that with the current. It's definitely something to read. If you didn't get the issues, check out the graphic novel. It was a really fun title, especially being a fan of the pre-New 52 Superman. I'm a fan of both, actually, but I'm more the let's continue with the Superman we have now, and I like the multiple universe thing. Some people don't, if you're a big DC fan, you usually embrace that. It's kind of the fun thing about being a DC reader. Superman, Wonder Woman, number 26, more Savage Dawn. Suffering a terrible loss, Wonder Woman comes to the aid of the kryptonite-charged Man of Steel to face the terror of the twins of Vandal Savage. Plus, world-renowned visualist Kim Jong-gi puts a stamp on the DC universe with a wall-to-wall-to-wall action triptych featuring the big 3. Okay, so we're going to be getting a lot of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman in these next few issues. Plus, they announced that there's going to be a Trinity book coming out. I'm excited about that. I love the team of the three of them. As much as I like two of them, it's even more cool when it's three. Teen Titans 17, We Are Robin number 9. So there you go. This is the point where you usually hear, we got comics from the vault. This time I want to do something different for We Got Comics from the Vault. As you can see, if I step aside here, look at that. We have some new graphic novels. I usually like to take this time to talk about the From the Vault stuff, and I've had some feedback from people and typically like this part of the show. It's one of my favorite additions to it. Doing other videos before, I thought this would be a cool thing to do. I like to focus on a lot of Silver Age stuff, but this time I'd like to point out the graphic novels, because the whole idea is to legacy, like Geoff Johns was talking about, was DC. And we got some particular DC stuff. We've been kind of low on the DC. It's been mostly Marvel. We still got a lot of Marvel. Not leaning to one side or the other. Just felt the need to balance the scale and to put a little bit of a spotlight on our new stuff, obviously. But I'd like to point out, if we're going to talk about legacy, we need to at least address that certain writers have come along in the DC universe and have changed not just the DC universe, but comic books in general. Marvel definitely deserves their credit for what Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko and all them did, John Romita Sr. in the 60s, because they added something to comic books that nobody had really done before, and lots of credit due to that group of people. Anybody that's watched and talked to me knows I'm a big Jack Kirby fan too, so I would never take anything away from that. This is more an addition. What DC did in the late 70s and early 80s was bring in writers like Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams, we talked about earlier. They did the story where Speedy, Roy Harper, had a heroin addiction. Tried to explore, and it was kind of going with the Marvel thing of making their characters more relatable. But then they did something in the 80s that was like, put an edge to things and pushed it up an extra notch. And what can you do with a superhero story that hasn't been done? One that everybody loves to know is The Watchmen. And what you'll see in these three titles here, we've got a theme, Alan Moore. Alan Moore's best Batman, The Killing Joke. One of my favorite drawings of the Joker is in this comic by Brian Boland, with the crazy hands in his hair and the ha-ha in the background. Love that Joker picture. Huge Joker fan, one of my favorite villains. This is a great Joker story. If you're reading before Preview New 52, Barbara Gordon at the time was not Batgirl, she was Oracle in a wheelchair. This is the story that put her in there. And of course, even when they went New 52, she got the ability to walk back, and it was all about overcoming that trauma, which was... I loved Gail Simone's run. She's not a big fan of this story, but to each his own. I think Alan Moore did something for the Batman universe at that time that hadn't been done, and I remember when I saw the Batman movie, it was really cool to see this. Of course, The Watchmen, V for Vendetta, great stuff. Frank Miller, we have The Dark Knight Returns, Year One, and Sin City. Ed Brubaker over here with Sleeper and Criminal, Captain America, Flash Rebirth, Harley Quinn. Alright, now we're talking about writers. Grant Morrison. We have 4 Grant Morrisons that are great. As much as what this is, The Dark Knight Returns to Batman, this is for Superman, All-Star Superman. Of course, the New 52 run with Grant Morrison was great Superman stuff. Batman Arkham Asylum, the games really pulled a lot from this. And 18 Days, which is a current story that he's been doing. Then we have Kingdom Come, which is another classic. Green Arrow Year One. The first volume for Wonder Woman. We've really added a lot in. A lot of cool Marvel stuff in here. Some Stan Lee, John Romita, Daredevil. It's a good time to be a comic fan, is all I can say. Next week we'll be back with a regular From the Vault, but I just felt it was a good time to showcase this stuff. We just got it in. I just got it out. Just set it up before I did the video. So come in and check this stuff out. I'm going to put a spotlight on it. So thanks for watching the video. Don't forget 25% off if you subscribe to 5 or more titles here. And you get 10% off over at the Money Tree. It's a good time to buy comics, and there's, if you're like us and you want to read a bunch of comics, you can't go wrong with that deal. It's practically like getting a free comic book. So come down and check us out, BME and the Money Tree. See you guys next week.